power of influence. This month, we've dedicated ourselves strictly to leadership and mindset. Now we're going to get into the ultimate level of leadership, and that's influence. Thanks to my amazing friend, not real friend, but just I feel like he's a friend, author John Maxwell, and his amazing leadership books. He talks about leadership starts with influence. So we're going to get into how leadership isn't about titles. It's not about power. It's not about your seat at the table. It's about influence, and that starts before you've even been given authority. I've led teams. I've closed deals. I've moved entire companies forward, guys, not because I had the title, but because I had the trust, and I had the trust of everyone around me. So today, I'm going to break down how to lead from anywhere, even if you're not the boss. I'm going to teach you how to be influential. Let's get into it right now in 3, in 2, in 1. So before I get into it, guys, welcome back to the show. We are here, Content Wednesday. Every Wednesday, I want to teach you something new, and what I'm going to get into is influence, like I told you. But before I get into that, make sure you subscribe. Please subscribe to the show. Please like it. Please click the bell. And the reason why you want to click the bell is because every Monday we have a new show and a new guest. Every Wednesday, I'm going to teach you something new that I know for a fact you're going to be able to take with you to your business and maybe to your home life, and hopefully go next level with it. And then every Sunday, you're going to get to really see behind the scenes of what we're doing. I go through all the meetings that we had for the week, what I was able to teach and what I was able to do, and what new things that we're doing, and honestly, some things going on in my personal life as well that maybe you could actually relate to humanize me a little bit. So make sure you hit that bell, because there's just way too many shows. Follow me on social media and just look at the description below. There's all kinds of cool things that you could download, free guides and all kinds of stuff to really help you grow. So let's do this. Section 1. The first thing that I want to talk about, guys, is influence is greater than position. So what do I mean by that? Is a lot of times people think that just because they're in a leadership position, just because they have a title that is like a leadership position, that people are just going to automatically follow. Take it from me, that ain't the way it works. I was 19 years old, and I was a tennis director of a tennis facility. I'll never forget, I couldn't believe I was 19 years old. They asked me to be the tennis director without really any much experience in actually teaching tennis. But I was in that position, and boy, did I feel proud to be in that position. I remember even taking my friends to the front of the tennis academy to show the sign that was on the front that said tennis director Vince Perri. And I was just the leader, and I was the one in charge, and anything that I asked, they would do, mostly. They did a lot of the things that I asked them to do, but they didn't really do it because they wanted to. And what ended up happening is we never really pushed the company forward. We never really did much on numbers. We did okay. And again, they were doing the things that I was telling them to do, but there was no actual care. They didn't really want to do those things. They were doing it only because they had to do it. So what I learned, and also with the help of my John Maxwell, greatest leadership author that there is position is the lowest level of leadership. If you go back, click up here, you could see that there is a video that I talk about the 5 levels of leadership that is actually described by John Maxwell in his book, 5 Levels of Leadership. The lowest level of leadership is position. Real influence is earned. And it's earned through trust. It's earned through consistency. It's earned through results. People only will follow who they believe in, not just who they report to. If the only reason people listen to you is because they have to, then you're not leading, you're just managing. You will not be able to scale your business or really move it forward in any way if people don't actually believe in you. If you haven't even showed any results, then guess what? They're not going to really listen to you much, and they're just going to do what they have to do. If you don't actually care about them and really trust and in the person that they are and get a chance to actually listen to them, then they're not going to like you very much. And if they don't like you, and if they don't trust you or see any of your results, or they don't think that you care, well, then they're not going to follow you. So let's get into the next thing. Build trust first. Now, how do you do this? One thing that I can tell you, if you want to build trust in the people around you, is you have to be open, you have to be candid, okay? Sometimes that's going to take very difficult conversations. Bring them behind the scenes. They're going to trust you much more. But bring them also behind the scenes of your life. Tell them about things that are going on. Trust ultimately is the currency of influence. Without it, nothing moves. Now, how do you build it? First thing is you have to show up consistently. That's right. You have to be the first to arrive. you have to be the last to leave. You want to also follow up thoroughly on your word. So if you actually promise something, you have to deliver. Even if you promise something and you change your mind and you don't feel like that was a good decision, more often than not, first of all, it was your gut decision, so you might as well go through with it. But if you all of a sudden change your mind, now you look indecisive, which makes you look untrustworthy, and now they can't actually go and trust or believe in anything that you say, at least for the short time coming until you actually get that trust back. And the last thing is, if you're going to build trust first, you have to put people first. Even when no one's watching, you have to make sure you're doing everything you can for them. How are you putting your people around you in a position to actually be successful? Remember, you earn influence, and you earn it in small moments when no one's giving you credit and you still show up like a pro. So it's going to take some time. The 5 levels of leadership takes years to get through. And what's funny is some people you will have a certain level of influence with and leadership, and some people you'll have a lower or a higher level of influence. It takes time. You have to just be consistent and just be a good person and do whatever you can for the people around you. The next thing is create value before you give direction. What do I mean by this? Obviously, this video is dedicated for people who are newly entrepreneurs, they're newly in a leadership position. And by the way, not just entrepreneurs, just people in a leadership position inside of their business. If you want people to follow your lead, show them you can solve problems, become a resource, be helpful, lead by example. In the beginning, I would suggest that you lead from the front. Do some of those things that need to be done. Show your team that you're willing to get dirty. Show that your team that you're willing to stay late until the end to make sure it all gets done. When you do that stuff in the beginning, it will allow you to later on slowly let go and slowly move back, because then those people not only have learned from you, but are more than willing and more than happy to step up into that role to relieve you of those duties so that you can go ahead and keep doing everything else, because they trust that you will actually go ahead and do those things. So add value over and over. That's how you can earn the right to be heard. Just remember, before you can direct people, you have to actually serve them. Authority comes after impact. Do whatever you can to help them in their personal lives, to help them in their work lives, to even do things to help their family. If they show that you care and they show that you, what is it go? The quote that they always say is, people don't care how much you know, they only want to know how much you care. And that's how you really build the influence, and you build the following, and you ultimately build movement. That's how you do it, making sure that you actually give it all away, care for them, do everything you can for them, because ultimately that's how you build influence. It's the same thing with the reason why on YouTube people are called influencers is because what they're doing is they're impacting people that are watching the show. They're giving away information that's only just going to help them. I would say your original influencers are just authors and book writers that were writing about things in business or whatever it is in life, and meditation and manifestation and your future and all that stuff, self-help books. Those are influencers because what they're doing is they're putting themselves out there and sharing everything that they've learned. You want to do that in your role as a leader as well. Whether you're inside of a company or you're the CEO, you have to make sure that you do everything you can to just provide them with as much information and as much leadership as possible so that you can ultimately influence them and then influence your company to the next level. The last thing I'll talk about is communication. You have to be able to communicate. Clear communication builds alignment. Share your core values. Share the why. Not just the what. People rally behind a purpose, okay? The reason why we have been able to be so successful with the Commercial Claims Advocate and with the Commercial Claims Show, when it was called the Commercial Claims Show, was because we really want to make sure people understood what my purpose was. And what my purpose was always was to just help public adjusters, to really lift up the entire industry, to make us more known, and to really just shine a bigger light on public adjusters, and also to help public adjusters be better. Because when I started the show, I remember the first company that I worked for, I got no support. I had no help. I was just thrown out there and said, go sign claims. And it wasn't until the second company that I worked with and I had a mentor to actually show me how to do things. So my purpose was for those people, and there's a lot of public adjusters out there that work for a company that they're not getting anything. They're not getting any feedback. They're not getting their questions answered, and they're just having a hard time being successful because they don't have anybody to help them. My purpose behind the Commercial Claims Show was to try to be the mentor that I had for the entire industry, to try to be that person that when they weren't getting the answers from the owner of their company, they could come to the YouTube show and they could get their answers that they needed. So that was always my purpose. Find out what your purpose is and make sure you share it. Now, my purpose is to make an impact on as many people as possible, and I'm hoping that we're actually doing that. Be a connector is another thing and not a commander. Like, come on. Make sure that you're connecting people and you're connecting with people, and don't just command them. You don't lead people by pushing. You lead them by pulling them into the vision, because at the end of the day, leadership is a daily choice. Every interaction is a leadership opportunity. I would take it a step further. Every interaction is an opportunity for you to connect with the person that you're leading, whether it's through coaching them or teaching them, or whether it's just listening to them about whatever issues they have. Ask them about how they're doing. Ask them about what's going on with their daily lives. I make sure that I sit down with every single person on my team once a year at the very least, just to discuss what all of their goals are for the year. We have a team meeting, and then I sit down with them individually. And then I'll sit down with them once a quarter or so to make sure that they're actually following up with it and they're actually getting to their goals. Not within the company, within their lives. And how can we as a company and me as a leader actually help them get there? What is it that we can do to help you get to the goals of buying that house, of getting married and having kids and being a homeowner? That is exactly how you do it, because then people really, really trust that you actually care about them. Because influence grows when you lead yourself well. So if you handle conflict with maturity and you make people feel seen, you will ultimately influence everyone around you. Leadership isn't a title, guys. It is not a position. It is a standard that you have to live by. You don't wait for permission to lead. You just start doing it, and do it from the heart. When leadership comes from the heart, when you really care about those people around you and you listen to them and you do whatever you can within the company and even within yourself to try to help them succeed and help them grow, you will have a follower for life. And you will also be building other leaders around you, which is a whole other level of success and a whole other level of leadership, is making sure that if you're doing all the things, if you are influencing all those around you, you are going to start building leaders. And the sooner you start building leaders within your organization, the sooner your business scales and you can spend the time doing the things that you want to do. And that's what we got, guys. Influence, influence, influence. It's all about having influence. Be a mentor. Coach. Be a coach for kids. That's a great start to have a great influence on kids. If it's your kids' soccer team or football team or whatever it is, a great way to start really practicing how you can mentor and coach and influence others. Just teach one of your kids' teams. Be one of the coaches. That's a great way to do it. But at the end of the day, just care. Or like I always say, just give a shit. That's what we got, guys. Make sure you subscribe to the show. Make sure that you like and follow and hit the bell. That's like the most important, so that you get a reminder when that Monday show comes out at 6 p.m. where I've got an amazing guest. When that Content Wednesday show comes out at 8 p.m., you already know that it's going to be on and you'll be able to watch it. Or when that Sunday live comes on, you get to find out the real Vince Perri and what's going on with him. That's when you'll get that notification. So like, subscribe, all of it. Follow me on social media, on Instagram, Facebook, and share it too, because I'm hoping that if you got something out of it, if you got something out of this video about building influence, I would like for you to share it. Share it with somebody. And that's what we got, guys. We'll see you next week. Peace out.